So today was a very good day in the computer gaming world. Today, about 11 p.m. Central Time, uh, Nvidia announced their new graphics cards. So this is like totally up my alley right here. So, like right off the bat, I want to say that this could be really awesome or it could be really bad. And I'll talk about the awesome part first. So they've renamed their graphics card line to from GeForce GTX to GeForce RTX. And I'll explain why. So the big push with this graphics card, which they pushed the entire hour and a half of this press conference that I sat through, was ray tracing. And if you don't know what ray tracing is, it's probably as old as computer graphics. Basically, if you have let's say you draw a model, a 3D model, and you need to light it. So you have your scene with your trees and stuff, and you need lighting. So how do you decide where light goes, where shadows go? How do you decide all that? It like right now it comes more into play with like CG movies, and it's one of the reasons it takes forever for them to render is because, and this is the easiest way I can explain ray tracing. So think about computer games now. What's one of the coolest games like Rocket League?
Yeah.
It runs great. But it looks great, but you can tell there's like a suspension of belief. It's not really realistic. Besides the exploding cars and flying cars, I'm talking about like purely graphics. They're like semi-realistic looking cars.
Yeah.
But if you take something like that and compare it to something like, this is just like random, something like Cars that Pixar, the movie. So what is the huge difference here? The poly counts are probably a little higher, yes, but the hugest difference is lighting. Basically, with a scene from Cars, what they do is they figure out where the camera is, and they say, okay, where's the light source, and what light sources, what shadows, and like what can this camera see, and not just normal shadows, because if you think about like a piece of glass, like there are light rays bouncing off of that glass that are showing like, reflections. They're not necessarily like reflections that will like obfuscate. Is that right? Obfuscate the glass. You can still see through the glass, but you can see things, that are reflecting off of it. And this is something that has been really, really hard to do in real time because it takes millions and millions of calculations. And it's like a huge, huge performance hit. And he even talked about how you can kind of do it now with some video cards, but a lot of them fake it. And even faking it is a huge, huge process intensive thing. So like, okay, I know what you're thinking. So Kary, how are they calculating shadows now in video games?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So like basically what they do is, I mean, I'm super, super simplifying this, but basically what they do is they draw the shadows to a certain extent. They're not like calculated in real time. Simple shadows are from like a major light source. Simple shadows, like they can be calculated, but when you have like multiple light sources, multiple reflections, like that stuff adds up quick. And sometimes they just don't even do it. You can go on the GeForce RTX website, and they have an example of like Battlefield 5, which is a game that's about to come out, and there's a car and there's an explosion like off in the distance. And if you do it without ray tracing, like in a normal game, it's not calculated. You see maybe like a little light, and you see, you know what I'm saying? You see the explosion, but like when they turn the ray tracing on, like you can actually see the explosion in the car. Like off of the car, off of the reflection of the car, off of the reflection of the windows. You can actually see what's reflecting, you get reflections on reflections. And all this sounds crazy, but like the easiest way for me to explain it is, if you want to know the biggest difference between like a CG movie and the games you're playing, it's the lighting. Like this is the next step. Like you can always add polygons. And I mean, we're even getting to a point now to where the poly counts are really, really high, but you still don't get that realism feel. And in my opinion, like 70 to 8% of it is lighting.